'cause it's the most magical time of the week. Hey there, comic friends. I can't sing. But at any rate, it's new comic book day for me. Friday, new comic book day. And here I got my comic books. So let's talk about my comic books. Top sheet here tells me that I got 21 issues this week. Oh, it's a lot of comics. Let's see what we get. What kind of fun. I know that I know a few of the books that came out this week, just because people have already been talking about them. But let's jump into it. What do we got first? Baltimore, Empty Graves. This is issue number 3 of 5. I really have been liking this. This Baltimore story has been a little more backstory into some of the other individuals that are helping him in his war. What it really means to be fighting this fight, and touching once again on the fact that what Baltimore is hoping at the end of this, when he finally finds the Red King and puts the Red King down, and that hopefully that means it's really the end for him. So, really been enjoying it. Peter Brettington hasn't been doing too bad of a job art-wise. No, Ben Stein. Really like Ben Stein's Baltimore stuff the best, but still enjoyable. And next up we have The Last Gang in Town. This is issue number 6. It is the final issue. Yay! To be quite honest, I haven't read the last 2 issues because I haven't really enjoyed it. So hoping, I love that cover though. That's a cool cover. At some point I will run out of things to read, and I will go back and read it, and hopefully I'll enjoy it more. I don't know. Wanted it to be something that it wasn't. I guess. I don't know. Have problems with... I like punk rock, but I have problems with punk rock comic books. I don't know. Paper Girls number 6. We are back. A new arc. We'll get to see what happens. What happens now. I have no idea exactly who that even is. I think that's a future version of the girls from the first arc of the book. But yes, wonderful Cliff Chang art, Brian K. Vaughan's story. Yeah, awesome stuff. Excited to read that. Be towards the top of my list for sure. Next up is Punisher number 2. I will clearly read this because I spent money on it. It wasn't horrific, but I do not like Dylan's art, and so that'll make it painful to read. Love this cover though. This cover is a Declan Shelby cover, colors by Jody Balleri. Of course, I just love this whole Punisher diner kind of a thing, and of course, it's just the dye is the one that's lit up in the diner thing. So that's a cool cover, and it's kind of one of the reasons why I ended up picking up the books is because the cover looked kind of cool, but inside I'm sure it's a standard Punisher story, unless I'm shocked by this issue, and with the art I can't stand. Aftershocks comic. This is issue number 1, The Revisionists. I actually kind of forgot that I had ordered this. So if I really like it, it's going to be interesting because I haven't ordered number 2 and it's past ordering time. So if I really like it, I'll have to figure out how I'm going to get number 2. Frank Barbary is the writer. Wrote 5 Ghosts. Whatever happened to 5 Ghosts, right? Gets a TV deal and then suddenly the book disappears. Art by Gary Brown. Gary Brown, who also is doing The Massive and is also doing The Black Road. So how is he doing that many? He's just one of those artists that's multi-talented that way. No idea really what this is about. I think it's kind of we can see the future. Let's go back in the past and alter it to make sure the crimes of the future don't happen. I don't know why I think it's a Minority Report kind of a thing. Not 100% sure on that. So we'll be looking forward to reading that. I've been liking a lot of the Aftershocks comics. Been kind of delivering really interesting things. Still continue to have some kind of weird issues with the credit and rights for the Aftershocks comics. Everything seems to be the writer has full copyright sort of rights to it, and yeah, I mean they're all like that. This year it says Copyright 2016 by Frank Barbary. The Revisionists, including all prominent characters featured here within. Its logo and all characters, likenesses, and trademarks are Frank Barbary, unless otherwise noted. So, all rights reserved. So, but in the credits for this one, different from the other comics of these that I've read, Aftershock comics, it does say that Frank Barbary, co-creator and writer, and Gary Brown, co-creator and artist. So, gets co-credit for co-creator, but doesn't have any rights still. I just kind of wonder. I mean, clearly, I don't know. Independent comics, kind of one of those statements that's kind of weird nowadays. Creator-owned, independent. Which is it? I guess Aftershocks is an independent kind of a company, but not creator-owned. Maybe, I don't know why. I just don't know why it is that only the writers are getting these deals. So, what's up with that? I don't know. Super excited about this. We are back to the Unfollow. This is issue number 8. Our Dowling is back on art from the guest artist of last issue. Always really excited to see where this comic goes. Super smart, really interesting. The art is so tight and so good in the book. I recommend it solely based on that, but an intriguing story too of these 140 individuals who are going to win the billions of dollars that basically somebody the equivalent of like Zuckerberg or the creators of Twitter kind of a thing has and is dying or has died and this money is going to go to these people after a certain amount of time. And clearly, if there are less people, the money gets split up a number of individuals. So always really intrigued to see where that goes at. Lots of intriguing, different characters. A film journalist from Iraq who is of Iraqi descent. There's a kind of a Japanese kind of a cult leader, kind of a person who's kind of a future visionist, kind of a person, a writer and whatnot. Chopped his own legs off with a samurai sword at some point in his life. Now has 2 prosthetic legs, has a facial tattoo, wears a wedding dress sometimes. Really crazy individual. A guy who's kind of comes from the gangs of like L.A. It seems, something along those lines. Who was one of the winners? A girl who. A debutante who comes from a very, very wealthy family and does not want any of that wealth. Just a lot of interesting people to tell stories around and whatnot. So, be lots of fun. Final issue of Survivors Club, issue number 9. This never got enough traction to continue on as a full-length vertical series. I'm still really intrigued by it. I enjoy lots of aspects of it. Certainly, Ryan Kelly's artwork, for instance, is a big draw for me. I think this is a Sekowitz cover. They've all been Sekowitz covers, but that one doesn't just scream Sekowitz. So I may have to look that up because maybe he's not the cover artist. Really cool, though. Kind of a portraity person, woman in the old-fashioned dress, but she's got insect legs. So yeah, we'll be enjoying to read the end of that. Ooh, okay. One of the Rebirth comics. Of course, I used Discount Comic Service. I got their deal. It was kind of a steal not to just kind of pick up everything. So I've got the Superman comic. I am looking forward to the Superman comic going forward. Written by Tomasi. This one's got Mackie art, which I'm not a big fan of Mackie, but we'll see how the story holds for me. Curious to see if I can read some Superman comics that solely have to do with Superman and enjoy it. We'll see. Comic that probably never gets talked about enough. Stray Bullets, Sunshine and Roses is issue number 15. Stray Bullets as a whole is an amazing series. Extremely intriguing, interesting way of telling the story. It's told in kind of vignettes of sorts where things are told out of different time sequences. Most like arcs, or like in this case, the the understory here is Sunshine and Roses. All that stays in one timeline, but where this part of the story is being told could be, completely different from where the prior arc was, as far as future, past, or whatever. But anyway, amazing work by David Lapham. Does the entire book. It's black and white, but really brilliant stuff. And I really would almost recommend it to anybody to read. Really, I mean, it's extremely violent. There's swearing in it and that sort of stuff. But just really smartly written and put together. People ask, where should you read it from? You can start on any one of these arcs if you want to. Like, you could start with the beginning of this Sunshine and Roses if you wanted single issues or whatever. You can go back and pick up the trades. You can go pick up that Uber Uber edition of it, the omnibus, which is super thick but really awesome. You read through that, and it really kind of tells you the whole story. You get from beginning to an end, but there's lots of stuff in the middle, and that's what this kind of stuff does, is tells just these, how did they get there, what happened, and all the little things that in between and whatnot. And just really, like I said, I really like the way it's written like that. It continues to make it intriguing, even though you may have the final answer for things. It's still intriguing to see how they got there and whatnot. I really enjoy it. Anyway, enough talk about that. The Goddamned. Before the Flood. This is issue number 4. I think there's a pretty healthy break between things. Really super like this book. Written by Jason Aaron. Pencils by Aram Garura, and colors by Guillaume Brunsko. To me, this just screams, in a lot of ways, kind of heavy metal. The artwork does and whatnot. The kind of savagery. There's clearly some nakedness in it. Just gorgeously thick, dense artwork of stuff that I just really enjoy about its stuff. That's pretty descriptive, isn't it? Just love the textures. It has a lot of grit to it that I very much enjoy. The biblical story of it is interesting also. I mean, it is set in biblical times. Clearly it's not necessarily trying to tell some, story of actually the Bible. They just took a period of time, and are kind of playing with that, with Cain, is walking the earth as basically as a cursed, person. He is having to deal with Noah. This is Noah here, and Noah is a serious badass, gathering up the materials that he needs to, I'm assuming, potentially build an ark at some point, and then that sort of thing. In this world, there's kind of a more evolved man and a lesser evolved man, and there's conflict between them and some other things, but still really cool. I'm hoping that with issue 4, that means we're kind of back on track with getting them out in a little more regular basis. But still good stuff. Another one of the DC Rebirth issues. This is the Green Arrow. I'm super excited about that. Ooh, look at that right there. Facial hair. Yeah. Marketed an improvement right there. I think it's curious that his lips are kind of green. Well, that's just odd coloring, or does he actually put on green lipstick when he goes out? Which would be awesome if he does. But super excited by this. Granted, it's the same writer, Percy, who has been writing Green Arrow here recently, and I had dropped Green Arrow because I didn't like the story and whatnot. Some great artists, Schmidt and Ferreira, are on as art, so I'm curious about that. And it feels to me like Percy knows kind of what Green Arrow used to be, and he wants to kind of bring some of that back. Green Arrow is the man, but he's fighting the man, and how do you do that? I'm intrigued by all of that, so I'm hoping that we get that back in that, and that it's going to end up being a great book. And I have no idea what these Rebirth issues are going to be like. I think they're a transition to what the actual titles are going to be, and that's really what I'm interested in, is the actual titles themselves more so than the Rebirth stuff. I'm just kind of curious to see how they use the Rebirth. Do they address it in the same fashion that that the actual Rebirth title was, or is it going to be something else that I haven't read anything clearly, so I don't know. So Green Lanterns Rebirth, and anybody who knows me knows I'm not a fan of Green Lanterns as a general rule. Fine in the Justice League or whatever, but I'm not really intrigued to read most Green Lantern stuff. My preferred Green Lantern is John Stewart. I really don't care for Hal Jordan. I tolerate Hal Jordan when he's hanging out with Oliver Queen and the Green Arrow, but otherwise not a big fan. So, getting this because it's part of the package deal, but to the truth, after talking to Sam Humphries, who helps write this issue along with Jeff Johns, I probably would pick this up and check it out anyway. I'm interested in it because I'm interested in the two characters who are protecting the Earth's sector now, Simon Baz and I cannot remember her name, Lopez. She used to be Power Ring of Earth 3. So clearly two people of color, minorities. I'm curious to see if that plays into it all, or if they'll just continue to do their thing. I know they're going to be battling against the Red Lanterns because the Red Lanterns are clearing out this sector, and they really want Earth, but they don't want the people who are on the planet. So should be pretty cool. Ethan Shriver art, which is usually always pretty solid. He's done so much Green Lantern work. It's pretty standard affair at this point, right? So yeah, I'll be curious to read this for a while. Like I said, after talking with Sam Humphries, I'm kind of excited about the book. So look forward to checking it out and seeing where it goes. Clearly, with Jeff Johns' name on this issue, it's one of those kind of transitions. We're moving from the old into the new, hopefully, and we'll see what it ends up being like going forward. Then we've got Hellboy, issue number 10. This is it. This is it. For Whom the Bells Toll. This is the final Hellboy. This is the final Mike Mignola produced book. For now, anyway. We say for now. Mike Mignola is retiring from doing comics and is going to go be a painter. There's a lot of stuff in his life that he wants to explore still, and he's decided it's time to go and do that. Awesome for him. Awesome for anybody who can do their career of choice and leave under their own terms and their good terms and go on to whatever other adventures they want in their life. So awesome for him. I'm personally super excited to read this to see how it turns out and what there is. I really love Hellboy. I like Mike Mignola's Hellboy. And we'll see what happens with the rest of the Mignola universe. Because I'm not 100% sure if he goes to doing art, goes to painting, does that mean he's really not going to put any input in? And are they going to tie the whole Mignola universe up and it'll all be done? I hope not. Spider-Woman Omega. Just picked this up to finish tying up this whole story line, this whole arc that it's had some okay moments, but has seemed fairly non-inconsequential. Maybe that's because I'm only picking up the Spider-Woman book and these two bookends, but we'll read that and see how it ends up. That's kind of a cool cover, though. Anyway, and then speaking of Spider-Woman versus Tiger Shark in tomato sauce with onions. I love this cover. She's all covered in tomato sauce or blood. Something's fishy. So it's like a can of sardines that she's peeling back. A regular crew of people are on the book. Hopeless Rodriguez and Lopez. Plus Porcupine against Diapers from Hell. So to me, this just screams fun. Issue number 8 of Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman's been a great run since they got rid of Land on the book back before the relaunch. And the relaunch with her pregnant and now with her son has been brilliant. It's just been lots of fun. Maybe more so for me as a parent, but I still think that everybody can get some mileage out of it and whatnot. I haven't yet. I know a couple people who are big Jessica Drew fans that are not parents, and I need to probably spend some time with them and see what if they've been reading it and what they think of the character now as a parent. Nowhere Man issue number 10. Not nowhere near as good as the beginning of this series was, but I'm still really enjoying it. The art is growing on me as far as it not being the same as what was on it before. Colors are still sharp. The other odds and ends that are in the book are still there and make it great. Just the production of it. I'm hoping this issue moves us forward some more. Last issue kind of spun its wheels a little bit, so and maybe I'll say that it didn't spin its wheels after I read this issue or a couple issues. That was all set up for something that was important and whatnot. It just felt like the first arc of this book had so much energy that I'm a little impatient on this one, and I probably shouldn't be. And I'll look back at it later and go, well, I shouldn't have been impatient because it's going to be awesome. Not to say it's bad. It's still really good. I'm really intrigued to see what some of the characters are going to be doing in this. So, yeah, always nice to have Nowhere Man back and regular. Put my comics in 3 bundles of stuff here. And I'm sorry that my haul video is always, of course, stupidly long because I have a lot of books and I like to talk. Ooh, this is thick. Oh my God, what is Travis thinking? He's got Deadpool in his poll, issue number 13. What the hell? That thing is super thick. It's not square bound, but it's clearly... Oh! Look at the price tag. The camera gonna focus? No. That says $9.99. I bought a $10 Deadpool comic. World's greatest comic book magazine. It's not even a comic book. It's a comic book magazine. Holy crap. Why did I get it, though? This is why I got it. Power Man and Iron Fist and Daredevil. And it has the people who work on those comics. Some of them, anyway. Yeah, Duggan, Soule, Walker. They're all there. The usual suspects. It's a crossover kind of a thing. So I'm hoping that means it's not just pure Deadpool, that we get the other guys in it. So, yeah, I'm going to read it and hate myself. A 4-issue crossover in one package. So I'm hoping that means there's 4 issues worth in here. So if there's 4 issues, $10 divided by 4, $2 and something an issue, maybe it's worth it, right? Holy crap. Clearly when I order my comics, I don't pay attention to the price on them, right? Man. Discipline, issue number 4. As per usual, I love the art. There's some interesting concepts that's in this. I really, really love the art. Story is being told in a weird fashion. I'm not sure it's working right. But I'm going to keep reading it. It's Peter Murphy with a few... Peter Murphy. Yeah, right. Peter Milligan. With few exceptions, Peter Milligan doesn't steer me wrong. New Romancer's one that steered me wrong. This one is a strange book. I believe at some point it's gonna come together for me, and I'll enjoy it more. But the Leonardo Fernandez and Chris Peter art is just really good. I really like that aspects of it. And, the comic clearly has some S&M-y kind of stuff in it that could verge on abuse, that could verge on potential rape situations and stuff like that. So that's all kind of dicey stuff that I need more story to have context as to exactly how I feel about some of those things. Not the S&M part, but where it verges into not being consensual, and how is that all portrayed with this female character and whatnot. So it has some caveats to it, but still interested in this story and what it's going to be. Deadly Class. This is issue number 21, the final of the Die For Me arc, and all I've seen on like Twitter about this is oh my gosh, holy shit. So probably the top of my list to read and see what it is. Always like Deadly Class. Smart book. Fabulous art by Wes Craig. So yeah. And another issue of Casanova, CD number 5. I love Casanova, the Casanova comic book. Mac Fraction written, Fabio Moon doing the main art on this. There's a backup story here by Michael Chabon with Gabriel Bra art, which is also super brilliant. Just love everything about Casanova. With the only thing I don't like about Casanova is how long it takes for an issue of it to come out. I'm not sure exactly where it is that the, is it Fraction's writing that takes forever? Is it the twins doing their part that's taking a long time? I know the twins do lots of other stuff. I don't know that this book sells super well. I think this book's to some degree maybe made out of love as opposed to high profit. I'm glad they love it because I absolutely love it. Just really, really cool stuff. And then the final thing I got this week was Batman number Rebirth. King and Snyder with Janin on art. We'll see where it goes. I mean, I have no idea. I think, like I said, this is the passing of the baton, I think is why Snyder's name is on it. Look forward to actually King's run on Batman. I'm more, like I said about a lot of these Rebirth things, I'm more interested in the actual regular title than I am the Rebirth thing itself. It was a good deal with Discount Comic Book Service, so I got them all. Yeah, I would have gotten the Batman one anyway, because it's Batman. Not that I buy everything Batman, but I plan on picking up the regular Batman title. Just kind of makes sense to see what the transition is, if that's what it is. And that is it. Thanks for checking it out. Quick reminder, I will not be on Comic Book Roundtable this week. Go check out Brandon Mackhammer's channel. He will be hosting the equivalent of Comic Book Roundtable with all the usual suspects and maybe some others. So check them out. I'm sure they will have smart things to say about some of these books that I've got and whatever books that they picked up that don't match up to mine. And I will see you all next week at some point. Have a great one, everybody.